I need to speak to you quite urgently because of the situation that we have, that here there is called in April a National Day of Prayer against anti-Semitism. Now, people think about it, particularly dealing with Israel and with Jewish people. We think in terms of the Holocaust, but it's not just the Holocaust. This thing is growing today, this anti-Israel. And what I do want to say is the need to desperately pray against this, because what we have is a situation where people are so against Jewish people, and it's growing. And I'm finding right across Europe, I hear that it's growing in France, and French Jews are being persecuted. It's in Germany. It's also quite strong in England. Although we have a problem with Islam, and there are, of course, Islamic attacks, but there is also a strong problem with anti-Semitism right throughout the world today. And I want to speak about this particularly because this is a serious issue. The Jews are God's people, but without that, why this attack against them is against all the things that we recognize to attack a particular group. And you'll find that we are not supposed to criticize Islam, for example, or Muslims, but yet the people that don't want me to criticize Islam or Muslims will openly criticize the Jews. And when it gets to an extent where we have a national boycott of Israeli goods, which is going on in Britain. But more than that, I remember speaking to the Israeli embassy in London and discussing different things, and they brought up this whole question of anti-Semitism. And they reminded me that it is also in the church. And that's why I'm urging pastors in the Ukraine to support this prayer against anti-Semitism because it is growing in large sections of the church. For example, in Britain, the Anglican Church supports the Arabs against the Jews, supports Palestine. The United Nations supports Palestine against Israel. But this anti-Semitism comes in for one major reason. In the church, it's called replacement theology. In other words, because the Jews crucified Jesus, that they are replaced by the Christian. And that's not true, because our faith is based upon a Jew. It was a Jew who died for me, a Jew who's brought me salvation, and I must honor Jesus as a Jew. And how can you have anti-Semitism in a church when our whole salvation is based upon the Son of God who was born as a Jew? Anti-Semitism, in that sense, is a rejection of Christ. And so I'm urging Christian leaders to join in this prayer and to support this day, and we've got to stop anti-Semitism. Now, just to take it even further, in Britain, we have two particular political parties. We've got the Conservatives, we've got the Labour Party. At the moment, the Labour Party in Britain, which represents, 50% of the population, the leaders are clearly anti-Semitic. Now, there's nothing quiet about it. It is known that anti-Semitism is very strong through the whole of the Labour Party. So you begin to realize this thing is not just something that you can dismiss, but it is something that we can only deal with through prayer. So please support this National Day of Prayer to support the Jewish people, who are God's chosen people.